Hi everyone, welcome back to the Hubie and Talent channel. This is Stella Bella. I hope you've all had a wonderful week and thank you for joining me for another video this week. Now today I'm going to be talking about something that we all deal with and something that we can't quite escape from our day-to-day lives, and that is stress. And sometimes it's really easy to allow stress to get the better of us and end up having it run our day-to-day lives, causing us anxiety and more grief than it technically should. So today I'm going to talk about some of the causes of stress and some of the methods that have worked for me in the past in better managing stress, so that hopefully we can help you to live a happier, more balanced and more stress-free life. So the way I see it, generally there's two types of stress. One type of stress that is caused by things that are within our control, so we can actually do something to change the outcome. And the other is caused by things that are out of our control. So it's something that happened to us, around us, and we cannot change the outcome of it. So first of all, whatever stress it is that you're dealing with, even if you have 10 different things that you're stressed about right now, identify each one to see if it's actually something that you can control and change the outcome of, or if it's something that is out of your control. At the end of the day, stress doesn't actually help in any shape or form. It makes us more irritated, it makes us more emotional, it makes us make maybe impulsive decisions that are wrong based on our stress levels, rather than being able to view a situation objectively and find solutions that best fit that situation. If it is something that you can control, then start thinking of solutions, ways that you can change the outcome. What can you possibly do right now so that you are more in the mindset of taking action and trying to do something, than to just sit and stress and wait for something to happen to you. And if it is something that you can't possibly do something about, then think of ways of how you will deal with the outcome. Even if it is a bad outcome, think of ways to live with the outcome, to accept the outcome. Maybe even think of some positives that might come out of it, because that in itself is also an action that you'll be taking. Rather than just sitting there and being stressed out, make sure you're working towards something that's actionable at all times, so that you're taking the control back from the stress rather than letting it run your life. Now, second thing you should be doing, especially on the back of number one, which is identify what actions need to be taken. Now, number two is don't procrastinate. Once you've identified what actions need to be taken, take the action. I mean, I dare to say maybe 60-70% of our daily stress comes from things that we've put off for so long, and now suddenly the deadline is looming on us and we realize the project, the thing that we've been putting off, is a lot bigger and more time consuming than we thought it was going to be, and now we don't have enough time left. And so the stress that was only maybe a little bit stressful days, weeks or months ago, when we knew it was something that we had to do anyway, by us putting it off until the last minute, that little bit of stress has now blown way out of proportion and become a much bigger inconvenience in our lives. So the first thing we need to do to prevent that stress is to not procrastinate, right? If you know something needs to be done eventually anyway, and you have the time to do it now, then just do it. A lot of us tend to make excuses as to why we can't do the thing right now. And that's because we tend to put things off. Unless there's a deadline, unless there's some sort of urgency about it, we tend to put it off until the very last second. Then that urgency comes on and we're giving ourselves unnecessary stress. Some people like to use the excuse that they work better under stress, which, if that's the case, then you don't need to be watching this video, because obviously you feel like you thrive in stress and it's a good thing in your life. But for most people, we know that it's just an excuse to tell ourselves, and that nobody actually enjoys the feeling of stress. It's just something that we have to put up with because of some other bad choices we've made in life. So it's important to know the things that need to be done and just do them. Now this leads me to my next point, number three. On the back of getting things done, it's important to make sure you are doing the right things, not everything. A lot of people who are plagued with stress, generally it's because they have a lot on their plate. But if they actually look at their plate, they'll realize nearly half the things that are on their plate are not things that actually needs to be done. They're things that they want to do, or things that they've randomly taken on because they don't know how to say no. So it's important to identify the things that truly make a difference in your workload, in your lifestyle, in your day-to-day life. I know for a lot of sort of people pleasers out there, it's hard for them to say no because they feel like they're letting somebody down. But at the end of the day, it's one thing to do a favor for someone and to say yes because you truly want to help them, but it's another to do it at the detriment of your own mental health and well-being, and overloading your plate with someone else's work that you're not able to handle properly. Not only do you need to identify what are the right things to do for you, but what are some of the things that you should be taking out so that you're not just doing it for other people and harming yourself in the process. Number four, Don't over dramatize the situation because it does make stress worse. It's perfectly fine to sometimes want to vent about the situation and how unfair life is treating you, but try to avoid making a small situation into a much bigger deal than it is. When we start bringing a lot of emotions into it, starting to get angry or upset at the situation, not only does it not help change the outcome of anything, but it also creates more stress on ourselves and it makes us more anxious. So make sure you focus on looking at the situation objectively. Be a little bit more neutral about the situation, because the more you over dramatize a situation, the more stress and anxiety you're going to feel and the worse it's going to get. Okay, now speaking of not over dramatizing the situation, number 5 is ask for help if you can, and talk to people who can actually help you with the stress. If you're going to talk to somebody about the issue, make sure it's the right person. And that person should be someone who can provide you with a solution rather than more problems. For example, if you've got a large workload at work, talking to your colleagues or talking to your friends or your family about how much work you have, how stressed you are, probably isn't going to help because they can't actually help you. But talking to your manager, talking to your boss, talking to your supervisor, they are all people that can potentially help you lessen the workload or give you solutions, or at the very least understand that you are in a place of stress. Because if you don't tell them, they probably don't know and they think everything is fine. So it's important to communicate and tell the right people what the issue is, because chances are they're able to help you lessen the load and possibly even take away the stress. Number 6, focus on one thing at a time. A lot of the times when we're stressed about something, even if it's something small, we tend to let everything snowball on us. So we may start off with just one really small problem, which we think we can handle. But by the end of the day or the end of the week, we might have 10 really small problems. And to us, it's the end of the world because we have so many things happening. And suddenly those small problems each seem a little bit bigger just because we have a little bit more to deal with now. And it ends up being just one giant snowball of stress. But it's important to stay focused and remember that no matter how big that snowball is, it's still made up of just individual little problems that we can actually provide a solution for or try to solve. Try to break it down and go back to the basics, go back to where you were at the start of the week, and try to dissect your snowball into the individual problems that it's made up of, and analyze it that way and understand that all you need to do is just start solving each of these little individual problems and slowly chip away at that snowball, and the stress won't be as bad. And last but not least, it's important to look beyond the present. When it comes to stress, when it comes to problems that you're trying to solve, remember that you are here today because you are made up of all of the experiences, good and bad, that's ever happened to you in the past. And that includes a lot of the things that you were stressed about, a lot of the problems that you've already solved in the past. So if you've survived those stressful experiences in the past, there is no reason why you can't survive the stressful experiences you have today. So instead of focusing on all the stressful things that are happening to you right now, try to look beyond that. Look to next week, next month, next year, or even in 5 years' time. Think about all the little problems that you thought were so massive in the past and how you've overcome those and are standing stronger, more experienced than before. That's where you'll be in 5 years' time as well. And I know a lot of the times it's easier said than done, but it's important to think about the future. And while you're trying to solve your current issues, think about the silver lining that's ahead as well. So those are the 7 strategies that I've used in the past that I found have been very helpful in reducing my stress. Now, if you have any questions or if you've got any other tips as to how you manage stress, please leave it in the comments. I would love to hear, and I'm sure our audience members will also love to hear any other ways that can help them better manage their stress and become less anxious and just have a happier, more positive outlook on life. So please leave a comment below. Please make sure you're following us. Like, subscribe, follow on our social media and channels. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, so please follow us. And please follow me on my social media as well. My Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook is stellabella.au. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful, stress-free week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.